So today we are focusing on the insightful questions. The insightful questions is the research part of your project. I would go out on a limb and say it's probably the most important part of your project. You are going to learn more information regarding the topic of your project than you will probably incorporate in your project, okay? The purpose of the insightful questions is instead of having a textbook, a website, your parent, a teacher, or coach giving you information about the topic, you are going to discover the information on your own, okay? This is about your ability to discover your own path of education. So based on what your interests are, as you're doing your research, it might lead you down a different path than what you originated from. So that is the purpose of the insightful questions. It is not to impress me or Miss Connie with, your answers. It is so that you can gain the knowledge of the topic you are doing your project on, okay? So, again, write down your insightful questions, and I'll come back to this in a moment. But everyone who has completed and wrote down their insightful questions, give me a thumbs up. Now, during this part, you might want to take some notes, okay? So, therefore, you can learn the details of researching your insightful questions, okay? Hold on one second. So, do you know what research is? Sure. It's when you copy down facts from books and websites and put them all together, right? Not exactly. Shoot. Womp, womp, womp. Research is a learning and sharing process. What do you mean? Well, pick a subject you like to learn more about. That's easy. Baseball. Woo-woo. Great. Now the first step is to explore your topic. Everybody write this down. I'm pausing the video. Everyone write this down. You're going to write down the word step 1, explore. E-X-P-L-O-R-E. The first step is to explore your topic. How do you do that? Start learning about your topic using books, websites, and videos. Okay. And don't take any notes. Remember, you're only exploring. Got it. The next step is to identify a specific topic. Okay? So the first thing you're going to do is explore. You're not taking any notes. You're just learning about your topic. And then after you've learned about your topic, you're now going to identify a specific topic within your subject. Baseball is a big subject, so just pick one aspect to research. Like what? Here are a few suggestions. A legendary player, innovation of the game, baseball traditions, baseball around the world, favorite teams, rules changed throughout the history, the minor leagues, baseball stadiums. I'll choose this one. Baseball around the world. Terrific. Next, you can create some specific research questions about your new topic. This step will take some thought. Let's see. How about these? Where is baseball a major sport? How did it get started there? Do you have different rules in the U.S.? What U.S. players, that went too fast. Hold on one second. What U.S. players started in these countries? Now you're ready for step 3, gather. Everybody write that down. Step 1 is to explore. Does anybody remember what step 2 is? I'll unlock the chat box. Does anybody remember step? Very good. Step 2 is to identify.
Very good, Shana.
Very good. Step 3 is to gather. Time to start taking notes. Collect facts and images to help you answer your research questions. This is where your insightful questions come into place. Now you're going to find images to help answer those questions. A few things to remember. Take notes in your own words. Write bullet phrases, not whole sentences. Use quotation marks when copying an exact quote. And record all your sources in a bibliography. Gather all the information you need. Yep. Okay, just a little pause. We will help you set up your bibliography and things of that nature. So when you turn in your insightful questions, the one thing that we're looking at when we're grading is it in your own words? Did you put the quotations if you're using someone else's words? And cite your sources in your bibliography? Where did you get your information from? Okay.
Super, super important, guys. Very, very important.
Yep.
And don't try to copy it word for word, because we do check for plagiarism. Do not do it.
Very good point. Thank you, Ms. Connie. Then it's on to step 4, create. So step number 4 is create. Create. Ask your teacher what options you have to demonstrate your research. Just so that you know, the way that you demonstrate your research with Funcation is to complete your insightful question form. You are to answer the questions in multiple sentences. One sentence is not enough. You are to show off your knowledge of that specific topic. Go ahead, Connie.
And I actually want to elaborate on that, guys. As Ms. Amy stated, no, we do not want to see any one sentence answers. We want to see at least small paragraphs. The more information, the better. Always remember, I tell students all the time when they come to the collaboration classroom and they're trying to figure out how to work on their insightful questions, think about it from the perspective that you are teaching us what the information that you learned is. So we know nothing about this topic, basically, right? You're teaching us. You are our teacher. And you have to show us all of your knowledge, everything that you learned through your research. We want to be able to read your project, read your insightful questions, and learn from the information that you've provided. Okay?
This is a step. Your notes are raw material, then you can use it to build something new. Huh? How about a metaphor? Notes equals research. Lemons into lemonade. Sand into sandcastles. Raw ingredients into a cake. So now let's actually dig a little bit further. So I'm just going to recap, and then we're going to dig further on how to actually use the internet to find the information. So the first thing you're going to do when you get your project is you're just going to explore. You're going to go to the library, go to the websites, maybe ask questions to people that might be relevant to the topic, and you're just going to gather as much information as you possibly can. Once you start exploring, and give yourself about 2 to 3 days of nothing but exploration, okay? After you've explored, now you're going to identify what specific topic you would like to focus on within your project, within your research, okay? And that is going to be what you are going to focus on for your insightful question. And then you're going to gather the information. So let's look at gathering that information. Okay? So now we're going to do some online research.
This video will show you how to develop a basic search string using 3 practical tools: Boolean operators, quotation marks, and the asterisk or star symbol. These 3 tools can be used in most databases and will help make sure you are getting the most relevant results for your research without spending hours staring at a computer screen. The first of these tools is Boolean operators or star.
Connie, turn your mic off because the volume's coming back into the classroom.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Okay, let me keep playing the video.
The first of these tools is Boolean operators, which involves using the words and, or, and not. When incorporated into your search strategy, these words are always written in capital letters and can be used as often as you need them. And retrieves items that include 2 different concepts together. For example, an article that talks about caffeine and sprint performance. Or is useful when it doesn't matter which concept shows up in your results, as long as one concept is included. For example, searching for teenagers or young adults will likely provide information on similar types of people, even though you're using different terms. Not can remove search results you may not need by filtering out specific words. For example, if you were interested in information on outdoor walking patterns and kept getting information about treadmill walking, you could search for walking patterns, not treadmill, which would help to remove some of this information from your list. Truncation involves the use of the star symbol or asterisk. This symbol comes at the end of your root word and is helpful if you're using a concept that might have different endings. For example, by using the star symbol at the end of the word teen, you would get results for teen, teens, teenage, teenager, or teenagers, without having to type in all of these words separately. You could even use it for a word like Canada by dropping the A. This way, you'd get information that used the words Canada, Canadian, or Canadians. By putting quotation marks around a specific concept or phrase, you will be able to keep these words together in your search. For example, if you didn't put the term heart rate in quotation marks, you could get articles that talk about either of these words separately, bringing up unrelated terms like heart disease or mortality rate. Finally, it's important to keep in mind that there is no such thing as a perfect search. Don't be afraid to try different options to see which techniques work best. For more help with developing an effective search strategy, contact your subject librarian or visit any library service desk.
Okay, can I tell you guys? I learned something here. I did not know about the whole truncation. Is that how you pronounce it, with the little asterisk at the end? Just so that you guys know, if you ever want to rewatch any of these videos, you can come in the Collaboration Classroom. We have these available. So we're treating the Collaboration Classroom kind of like your own library. So you can come in to rewatch the videos if you want to take notes or anything of that nature. But that is really cool. Did anybody else learn something? Really quickly, tell me one thing that you learned by watching that video. Yeah, we're not going to put it in Shobi because pretty soon your Shobi is only going to allow you to look at your schedule and submit your assignments. Share with me real quick on one thing that you learned. If you want to use your mic, hit the raised hand feature first, so therefore all the mics aren't on at the same time. Go ahead, Zoe. Click the little microphone. There you go.
I just wanted to know if it was glitching for everybody or just me.
Oh, was it glitching for you guys? It might have been just your internet, but that's okay. If you want to rewatch the video, you can always come back in here and we can have you rewatch it, okay? I learned about the asterisk method. It would help a lot. Yes, I think so too. I found that very interesting. Okay, so let's go to our next video that will also give us even more information on how to do research effectively on the internet. Now this, I'm going to pause at some point and we're going to do an audience participation part. Here we go. Oh, there's no audio here? Okay. I thought she was talking. How do you research the internet? First, we're going to identify what good resources are. Academic journals such as JTOR. This should have audio. Can you guys hear anything? Okay, I'll read it to you. Government websites such as the NHS and council websites, the encyclopedia such as Britannica, and archived newspapers, the Times, Daily Telegraph, things of that nature, and university websites. A lot of people don't think to go to university websites, but they have amazing information because most university professors have to do research projects and paper in order to maintain their tenure. Okay? So that's how you can kind of understand. Bad resources. These are the resources you say. Personal blogs like Blogspot, forums like Yahoo Answers, and wiki sites like Wikipedia. Do not use Wikipedia as your source because anybody can update Wikipedia. Wikipedia is not a valid resource. My daughter, when she was younger, used to go on Wikipedia just to change the facts for fun. Okay? So don't use Wikipedia thinking that you're getting factual information. When you're on a Wikipedia site and you know how they have the little numbers after a sentence, you can click that to go to the actual resource, but don't get the resource from Wikipedia. You can use Wikipedia to find the sources that people are using. Okay? Wikipedia is not a good resource.
I think they just learned something.
I think so too. How do you evaluate whether a website is good or bad? A, you're going to check the web address. You're going to consider the author's history, if there's one, and you're going to look at the information about the organization, if it's available. I just blew your mind with Wikipedia information.
I think it came back to the same one, Amy.
No, it's still moving. Okay, so check your web address. So when you're doing your video, the first thing that you're going to look for is to make sure that the website ends in a reliable ending. University websites usually have like edu. The United Kingdom is ac.uk. Australia is edu.au. Remember, you can get information outside of the United States. We live on a planet with other countries and other vast amount of knowledge. We are not the only people who have knowledge. The government websites, you can also use in.gov, or the UK is .gov UK. Okay. The Smithsonian, by the way, is an amazing resource because the Smithsonian has like 13 museums. You can literally find information in the Smithsonian for almost any topic. Consider your author's history. When you're clicking on the author, you want to see what his or her education is. Are they a member of any organizations? Have they written books or journals? And what is their career history? So what you see here under James Bowman is a little bit about his background so that you can make sure that you're not just getting information from Sally Sue, who's sitting in her mother's basement updating blog posts. You want to make sure that they have some credible sources. If you're getting information from a business or an organization, is it a well-known organization like the Smithsonian? Or is it something like, so are you getting something from Smithsonian or Acme Solutions? Acme, if you guys have ever watched Looney Tunes, is the company where they give Bugs Bunny all his stuff to blow up the coyote. That is not a reliable source, okay? So if you had to choose between acmesolutions.com or smithsonianinstitute.org, you will choose Smithsonian Institute because it is a well-known organization. Oh, God, Kaylee. So you want to look at things that are connected to museums, libraries, universities, and research institutions. Has anything been published? I love Looney Tunes too, Silas. And again, you don't have to just look at sources in the United States. So when I was in D.C. last, I went to the Library of Congress, which, by the way, is incredible. They have an amazing website. That is another amazing source to go to do your research. Go to the Library of Congress, it's loc.org, and you can type in a subject matter, and because they have one of the largest collection of books and information, they will be able to give you a lot of research and tools, okay? You can also go to the British Library equivalent of Library of Congress. You can go to Egypt's Library of Congress. I mean, the benefit of the internet is there are no limits to where you live. Yes, I'm just blowing your mind, Kaylee. Okay.
And of course, we love the internet and we are very pro using technology. But if you guys happen to be at the library with your families, if you guys do that, you can also use the library just to do some research. So, absolutely. Lots of options.
And I always strongly suggest going to the library to get a book. You just have to check the date your book was published, so you make sure that you're getting modern information if you're doing research, okay? The British Library, by the way, is actually a very good website as well, because Great Britain is so much older than us. If you're looking at the history and chronological order of events and things, it's a great website. Thank you, Silas. Okay. Now some examples. Are you guys ready for the class participation? I searched for a website about pandas, and I found the following. I like pandas. I just realized when I was doing research on pandas that pandas are actually on loan from China, and any zoo or place that you see a panda, they only have access to it for a period of time, and then they have to return them back to China. I didn't know that. Okay.
Oh.
So here is information on the Great Panda website located at the Smithsonian National Zoo. Is this a good website? Yes or no? I have a couple of yeses. I have another yes. Yes. Do I have any no's? Big zebra boy. Thank you, Kate. Cool beans. This is a good website because it ends in the EDU, and it's the Smithsonian. Yes, check the web address. It ends in EDU. The organization is the Smithsonian, which is a well-respected research institution. So it covers a couple of points. Okay? And yes, if you're doing an animal project and you need to learn about animals, the Smithsonian Zoo website is amazing. I want to know the population of Leeds in 2011. I find, Leeds is a city, by the way, in the UK. I find the Leeds website, it ends in the government.uk. I've actually been to Leeds. I've went to Leeds Castle, as a matter of fact. Very beautiful castle. Okay, I want to know the difference between Sunni and, I can't pronounce that word, Muslims. How do I find the difference? This is a WikiHow. It is at wiki.com to learn the difference. Is this a good website? No, because it is a wiki website. The author cannot be found, so you don't have a good source. The organization is wiki hosted, which means that anyone can contribute to it. A wiki site by nature allows almost anyone to edit the content. This makes this makes it very difficult to determine whether the information is accurate. So no WikiHow, no Wikipedia. If it has wiki in it, don't use it. Oh, sorry, Shay. Oh, is my video still playing?
It
Yes,
seems
it is. The counter's
yes,
ticking.
but it's
There we go. Okay, finally, did you know there are codes that you can type into Google to find better results? Did you know? So the advanced search is the easiest way to use your Google, is to use Google Advanced Search. I personally have never used Google Advanced Search, but that's okay. We're about to learn how to do that today. So you go to google.com/advanced_search.
That was Amy. That was google.com/ oh, I see it. Haha.
/advanced_search.
Yep, I see it.
You can also enter various codes to narrow down in your Google search bar. By using these codes, you can search an exact phrase, search information only about World War II home front, exclude a word, search Jaguar, a cat, not a car, exclude websites, search information but exclude all wiki sites. Search within a domain. Only search a library within. Only search within like the library domains, or only search within familiar websites like the Times or something of that nature. Okay, so that is the end. Go research wisely. Now, I hope you guys learned something new with this video. Again, make sure that you use reliable sources. LibraryofCongress.org is great. NationalArchive.org or GOV, I have to look up that one. That is also an amazing website. It is located in the History Center under the research section. The National Archives, you can read about the JFK's assassination and read the entire Warren Commission report. You can find your ancestors, and you can find the records of the slaves. You can find any war documents, people's draft cards. You can find so much information in the National Archive website. So you want to use good resources. You also can use Newsweek.com or National Geographic, Net Geo, Smithsonian. All the Smithsonian websites, Smithsonian Air and Space. If you're doing like the moon-based discovery website, you might want to go to Smithsonian Air and Space to learn about the different planets. And then you might want to go to Net Geo to also watch some videos about the different planets. Now you've used two different reliable sources to learn about the characteristics of planets as you're doing your research on moon-based discovery.
And I was actually going to say that. I didn't know if you had mentioned it, Amy, but make sure, guys, that you are always looking for more than one source when you are answering your questions. Multiple sources, 2 or 3 sources to compare your information to make sure that what you're gathering is the right information. So always use multiple sources. Very important.
Absolutely. Are you guys learning a lot about how to do research? Now, our final, no problem. Yay! Now, our final video, we're going to learn about telling the difference between fact or fiction. How many of you guys have heard the term fake news?
I'm sure they have.
Right. So what does that really mean? So here is the difference. Here's what fake news really is, okay? So fake news is not when you disagree with the news. Just because you do not understand it, or just because you don't like what it says, or just because you don't have an understanding of it does not make it fake. Fake news is when they say Elizabeth Taylor, who's been dead for a while, was walking down Sunset Boulevard pregnant with triplets that have aliens. That's fake news. He's dead. You're not pregnant with aliens. And number 3, when she passed away, she was 70-something years old. Okay? It just came off the top of my head, Kaylee. That is fake news. Another example of fake news. Let's see if I can come up with another example that sounds a little bit more, that's a little bit harder to disseminate. Oh, I saw this one on YouTube. Fake news. Canada is becoming the 51st state in the United States. First of all, Canada is an entire country, not a city. But that is fake news. Canada is not joining the United States. We are all part of North America. Okay? So when you see those things, the United States does not have 51 states. We have 50. Now, we have other states that we have protectorates like Puerto Rico and things of that nature, Guam, but they are technically not states. Okay? Again, that is fake news. So we're going to watch a video that will help us understand this. Turn on your volume.
With digital tools, it is easier than ever to create, edit, and publish your work to the world. But there's a cost. It's also easier than ever to spread misinformation, and fake news has become a real issue in recent times. We see this with students. According to a Stanford study, only 25% of high school students were able to identify an accurate news story compared to a fake one. Students also had a hard time distinguishing between real and fake photographs, as well as authentic and staged videos. Researchers use the words bleak and dismaying to describe this, but it's not going away anytime soon, and that's a very real problem. So how do we fix it? Well, here's a 5-step process that I've used with students. A word of caution, it's not perfect, and there are probably other models out there, but I thought I would share it just in case you might want to use it. We call it the 5 C's of critical consuming. Number 1, context. Look at the context of the article. When was it written? Where does it come from? Have the events changed since then? Is there any new information that could change your perspective? Number 2, credibility. Check the credibility of the source. Does the site have a reputation for journalistic integrity? Does the author cite credible sources? Is it satirical? Is it on the list of fake news sites? Is it actually an advertisement posing as a real news story? Number 3.
I'm going to pause right there. That advertisement posing as a news story. Oh, you can't hear anything? Zoe, turn your volume up at the bottom of your screen. There's a little sound icon at the bottom. Slide it to the right. The advertisements posing as real news is actually where most people get tripped up, because they think that they're looking at an article, and in fact, they're trying to get you to buy in to a fake website. And it's also important to definitely check your information, because all of you guys are over the age of 10, right? So when you were 5 years old and someone explained to you what the beach is, your understanding of the beach has drastically changed to what you understand it to be today. That's how a lot of information evolves. What we learned back, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, even 20 years ago, might not be true today, because we have more research behind it. We've experienced it longer, so we've seen more patterns. We might have had misinformation back then, and now real information is coming into play. So make sure that your information, the thoughts and the research behind it, have not evolved since then. Okay, let me keep playing.
Number 3, construction. Analyze the construction of the article. What is the bias? Are there any loaded words, any omissions, any propaganda techniques?
Now that's another very important part. Please, please, please make sure that you do not take someone's opinion and make it fact. Especially if you're doing any research project that has to do with what we call a hot button issue, whether it is immigration, healthcare, climate change, our political discourse in our country and around the world. Make sure that whoever is giving you that information, they are not giving you their opinion and selling it like fact. Have you ever had a conversation with someone, maybe your parents? I do this all the time to my daughter. So I'll tell my daughter what I think, but the way I approach it, it makes it sound like it is fact, because I know based off of my experience, but my experience is so limited because I haven't had every scenario encountered. Okay? So make sure that when you're getting information, make sure when you get information, you're not getting it from someone's opinion, but there are actual facts. And make sure that the facts that they are using come from a reliable source. It is very easy to get in an echo chamber. Have you guys ever heard the word echo chamber before? Nope. Okay, so an echo chamber means when you get on social media, or when all of your friends or the news channels, CNN, MSNBC, and Fox News, they are echo chambers, meaning that the people who watch CNN, majority of those people think the same way, okay? The people who watch MSNBC, the majority of those people think the same way. The people who watch Fox News, the majority of those people think the same way. So therefore, when you are having a conversation, you're not really evolving your thought process. You're repeating exactly what you already think to people who already agree with you. And so now you feel like, oh, I really feel empowered in my thought process because so-and-so said exactly what I'm thinking. But there's no one challenging that thought process. Never get in a way of never having anyone challenge the way that you think. Because the more information that you learn, the wider your understanding of a topic becomes, okay? Most of us live what I like to call in a fishbowl. So most of us live where we only want to hear things that we already know about, and we don't want to learn new things, okay? So, or if we do learn new things, we want the new things to reinforce what we already learned. But what if we learned that, for example, how many of you, now this might not be because most of you are young, how many of you thought that Pluto was a planet? Yes. Cool beans. They have discovered that Pluto is not a planet. So when I was in school for the last 35 years of my life, I was raised thinking that Pluto was a planet. As science evolved and as technology got better, our telescopes got better, our research got better, our communication with other space companies like NASA and then the Japanese space company and the Russian space company, as we started talking, we discovered that Pluto is not a planet. So the information has changed over time.
That's so funny because I actually remember building the solar system with Pluto in it. Did you do that, Amy?
Exactly, yes. I was raised where Pluto was a planet, and now we have discovered it is not. Okay?
Yes.
So, again, you don't want to go on the internet where you have someone who is my age who is stuck in believing that Pluto is a planet because that's what they were taught in 1995. And they haven't been in a classroom. They haven't done any research since 1995 on the space. But because it went viral on Twitter that Pluto isn't a planet, they now have an opinion saying that is fake news. In reality, if you go to NASA's website or you talk to some astrophysicists, remember, check your source. These people do this for a living. They all are in unison saying Pluto is no longer a planet. It's not one astrophysicist. It's not one research section of a college. All of them have agreed Pluto is no longer a planet. Who are you going to believe? Billy Bob, who was in high school in 1995, who currently works at IBM? Or are you going to believe a Dr. Astrophysicist who works at Caltech and does this for a living? Okay? So that's how you have to kind of determine between, it's Caltech, not Caltech, but that's how you determine between fact or fiction, okay? Caltech is CAL.
You need propaganda techniques. Can you distinguish between the facts and the opinions? Or is it merely a bunch of speculation? Number 4, corroboration. Corroborate the information with other credible news sources. Make sure it's not the only source making this claim. And if it is, there's a good chance it's not actually true. Number 5, compare. Compare it to other news sources to get a different perspective. Find other credible sources from other areas of the ideological or political spectrum to provide nuance and get a bigger picture of what's actually going on. When we teach students media literacy and they learn how to consume critically, they learn how to think critically. And critical thinking citizens are good for democracy. And that, well, that's good for everyone.
You see how he cited his source at the end of his video? He put the C so you can see the year of when he created it and where he got his information from. Cool beans? Okay, so I hope that you guys learned a lot of information regarding research. We are going to wrap. I am going to, thank you. I am going to just recap real quick. When you're doing your insightful questions, you are going to first explore the topic without taking notes. You're just going to learn as much about it as possible. Then you're going to identify the topic that you would like to focus on within your subject matter. And then you're going to start gathering your information. When you gather your information, you are going to make sure you are using reliable websites. WikiWiki is a no. So don't use any wiki websites. Go directly to university websites, government websites, museum websites, library websites, or reputable magazines like Newsweek or newspapers like USA Today and the Wall Street Journal that don't go to the opinion piece. Double check who is giving you the information. Is it an opinion piece? A good newspaper, for example, a good newspaper will always indicate when it is an opinion piece. It will actually say opinion and then the title of the article. So therefore, you can identify if you're getting someone's opinion or if you're getting facts. And you don't want to get into an echo chamber where you're only finding information that agrees with you. Okay? Yes, we need to come up with a saying for WikiWiki. Okay. Okay, so you guys have